guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today's is going to be on, I don't think I've ever received more requests for either a review or a tutorial than on this palette right here. And this thing, I can't even tell you, it's the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction. This is the Mothership 5. I think it's the 5. Yeah, it's the Mothership 5. And quite frankly, if I had to pick one palette out of my entire collection that I would recommend to you, it would be this one. And quite frankly, I never thought I'd say that about a Pat McGrath palette. This is what turned everything around for me. I always liked her palettes, was never in love with them. Never really realized, like, okay, what do people see in these so much? I like them, but I don't know that they're worth $125. Until this little baby right here. And now this, I don't know if it's like the color scheme, the unique, just some of them have that shift, but some of her previous ones did too. I think it was just the fact that there were so many of those standout sparkly shades that you guys know I just love. I love my eyeballs to look like a disco ball. The shinier, the sparklier, the better. And this had so much of that. Like, this actually duplicated what I was seeing in the promo videos, the promo pictures, that sparkly goodness. Previously, I would see that, but it wouldn't translate from the palettes that I had purchased. This one, I mean, mind blown. And it's, I believe it to be more unique than anything I have in my collection. I love, love, love putting this to use. And like I said, I have not received as many requests as I have for this palette. So, I have put together a tutorial for you using only 4 shades in this palette. Easy peasy. I don't like complex. I'm busy. Sometimes I have to go really quick on my makeup. And I don't have the time to use 6, 7, 8, 9 shades. It's beautiful when people can do that. Like, sometimes I look at these eye looks or these videos, I'm like, wow, but I don't have the time for that. So I have kind of figured out how, I've kind of mastered how to do glam and beautiful, and it looks complex, but it's really not, and it's only using a handful of shades. So if you want to see how I got this look right here using only 4 shades from this beauty right here, then just keep on watching. Okay guys, as usual, it is time to prime our eyelids. I am using the Fenty Pro Filter eye primer. This is the one I use pretty much on a daily basis. And it has a very tacky consistency, which just brings out the vibrancy in my shadows. Next up, we're going to use the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette, Mothership 5. This is pretty much my favorite palette of all time at this point. It's just really amazing. So I'm going to go in with a blending brush, and I'm going in with that deep purple shade called Extreme Aubergine. And I'm really going to fully coat my brush and go in with that as my crease and outer lid shade. Now, you're going to see, as I'm putting this on, it kind of gets messier and messier. I had completely forgotten that my Fenty primer is not the best choice for my Pat McGrath mattes. They just don't seem to go well together. It seems to kind of skip, and as you can tell, it's just not, I'm having a whole lot of trouble. But I'm actually glad this happened, because this is like the perfect opportunity to show that makeup can easily be fixed. It's never something that's unfixable or that you have to start all over. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So I'm just building this up at this point. I've blended it out as much as I can. I'm just building it up. I'm placing it in the outer portion of the lid to smoke it out. And next I'm going to go in with a clean blending brush, and I'm going to try my best to smooth out those edges right there on above my, I guess kind of on my brow bone, above my transition area, just because, again, I had so many issues with laying down that matte on top of that tacky primer. It was just too tacky for this matte, but it's fine. What we're going to do, I had not planned on using this step, but I am going to cut the crease for sake of cleaning up my lids, just because it ended up, it turned out so messy. But that's okay. Like I said, this is just the perfect way to show you that even if you weren't planning to do something, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. things can be tweaked and changed in order to save your makeup look, and it's actually ended up working out for the best. I'm actually really happy with having to lay down the concealer and cutting the crease. Next up, I am going to go in with the shade, I don't even remember what this one is called. Oh, it's the red one. I'm going to go in with Blitz Flame. So that is the red metallic shade, and this is a beautiful shade, and this really is perfect for Christmas. It's just, the finish is very metallic, very foiled, and it just looks like a Christmas present on your eye. It packs on very quickly and very nicely. I only had to pack on very little for me to get this color payoff. So I'm going to do both the inner and outer portion of the lid, although the outer is that aubergine shade, but right in the inner portion, and then I guess the 3/4 of the lid is going to be this red color. And then I am going to use the Anastasia glitter adhesive. Y'all know I am so used to using the Too Faced glitter glue, but I have been putting this one to use, and I actually quite like it. It's been interesting getting used to because it's wet, but I like that I don't have to use my fingers. I'm just putting that in the open area, and I'm going to go in with that gold shift shade called VR Fire Opal. That probably is the most unique shade of eyeshadow in my entire collection. I love it so, so much. So grab enough on your brush. I am not using any of these shades wet, just packing enough on my brush to be able to go in and lay that on top of that glitter adhesive. And then what I'm going to do at the top, you see how I'm extending it a little bit? I'm kind of making, the best way I can describe it is like a T with the top, you know, coming out on the sides, and then the middle goes a little bit more straight down and doesn't extend as far as where I placed it on the top. And I've really liked that technique better than just going straight up and down. Next up, I'm going to go in with a smaller brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Astral Luna Gold. And this looks white in the pan, but once you place it on your eye, it turns very gold. Now this one I am going to use wet, and that's for the reason that I'm not using glitter adhesive in my inner corner. I'm really just using it wet just so I can make it stick, because this does have loose, chunky glitter. And it actually worked very, very well just using a wet brush. It's very intense, as you can see. I didn't use much, and it packed quite the punch. Going back in with that extreme aubergine shade, this is what we are going to use for most of our lower lash line. It's mainly going to be for the outer and inner portion, and we're going to leave the middle pretty open because we're going to come back to that. But for now, just smoke out the lower lash line by using that aubergine shade. Now we're going to go back in with Blitz Flame with that red shade, and we're going to place that right underneath in the middle on that lower lash line, right underneath that green that we have on top. So you kind of notice how it's that green shade in the middle of the actual lid, and then on the lower lash line, the shade we're going to have right in the middle is the red. So just to kind of keep it all in theme and pull it together, but still have it kind of different. Next, just go in with an eyeliner. Any pencil liner will do. This one I noticed well into this tutorial that it's old. It's time to throw it out because it didn't stay in my waterline very long, and it used to, but I think it's getting a little old. It's a Too Faced liner I got a long, long time ago. I'm also going to tightline. Now my apologies that I'm hunched down really low, but for this I need to get up close and personal with the mirror because I wear contacts, and if I get sloppy, I end up getting the liner on my contacts, and it is such a pain in the rear to take off. Next, I'm using my Fenty Fly Liner, and I'm not going to do any kind of wing, but I am lining my upper lash line because I do want to kind of not only smoke it out, but we are going to wear lashes, and so I do want to add that black over top of my lashes. And you can make it as thick or as thin as you'd like. I'm trying to go pretty thin. I'm not trying to be too excessive with it. Next, this is going to be taken mostly off camera just because I have to get real close to the camera to be able to do my lashes and most of my mascara. But just for sake of the video, I will just show you a little bit of me putting on mascara. This is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir and is pretty much my favorite mascara of all time. Next up, it's time for the face. Our eyes are done. I'm using the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I love this one so much. It's quite thick, so now that we're getting into the colder months, it's kind of nice because it does really make my skin feel a little bit more moisturized. It feels like it's got a layer of almost kind of protectant between my skin and the foundation. So just rubbing a little bit of that all over the face. Next up, it's time for foundation, and I'm going to be using, surprise, surprise, the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I am in the shade Light Beige, and just one pump. I do one full pump, and that's it. There's times where I've done 1.5 because I think that's what I need, and every single time it's been too much, so I don't want to waste any. So lately I've just been getting in the habit of doing one pump, and it has been perfect. So just dotting this all over my face to make it easier for my beauty blender once I get started on that. And this is the Morphe sponge. Y'all know that I have really been loving spraying my beauty sponge with either Max Fix Plus or the Wander Glow, I forget what it's called, but the Glow Spray. And that's actually the one I like best, but I have so much Max Fix Plus at the moment that I'm trying to get through those bottles right now. Next up, it's time for concealer. This is the Cover FX Power Play Concealer. I forget what shade I am. I think I'm in Light 2, and it is a neutral undertone. I have found that I like this concealer very, very much. I love the little applicator too. It's very unique. I don't go excessive with my concealer, as y'all know, because then it ends up looking cakey and kind of gross and just too makeup-y on my skin. So I just do under my eyes for those dark spots or those dark circles. And the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder has been my best friend lately. So I'm going to use that in a couple different ways. I'm going to grab a smaller brush to go ahead and put it under my eyes to just set that concealer. It really does make my under eyes look very airbrushed when I do this step. I have never been a powder girl, and this powder has just changed me in the way of powders. So next up, we're going to go with a fluffy brush and just use it to set a little bit of powder down above the brows, just because, again, it gives me a more, I don't know, pulled together airbrush type of look. I'm also going to do it around my nose because I've told y'all before, I have really dry peeling skin on the corners of my nose, and it just helps so much. And then on my chin as well. Next, going in with my favorite bronzer of life, the Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light. And I'm going in with my Tarte. I even forget what this one's called. I've had it for a long time and I don't use it very often. So when I remember I have it, I like to put it to use. It is a great brush. It's just sometimes I find the handle a little bit large for my liking, and it's hard for me to really get a good grip. So it ends up sometimes being kind of sloppy the way I apply my bronzer, which is fine. Worst case scenario, if you get too sloppy with your bronzer, just grab your beauty blender and just kind of, you know, pounce those areas where it's just a little too sloppy. Again, makeup can always be corrected. Next, going in with my IT Cosmetics airbrush brush and my Benefit Watts Up. This is going to be the cream highlight that I set as my base for my powder highlight. I love doing this to just take my highlight to the next level. Next up, we are going in with the Nars Hot Tryst palette, and I'm going to go in with the shade Untamed. It's the berry shade on the top right-hand row, and I just love this palette so much. I have been using it pretty much every single day. Next, I'm going in with my Anastasia A23 and my Naked Illuminated highlight. This highlight I like best wet. It's what gives me the most sparkle and intensity. And so the times that I do use it, I tend to wet my brush just to kind of give it that extra punch. Just putting a little bit on the edge of my nose just because I feel like I have to. On the Cupid's bow, again, I don't always do that because it rubs off after a little while. And lastly, I'm going in with my Dose of Colors and iluvsarahi Nude Chica lipstick. And I kind of regretted doing this step. I'll tell you why here in just a second, but I did opt for a nude lipstick.
And then I opted for a lip topper because of the whole sparkle eye. I kind of wanted to pull together a sparkle lip. This is High Standards by Tarte, and it is an intensely sparkly gloss. It's literally one of my favorite glosses of life. It's so beautiful on its own. I really should have used it on its own, but it is what it is. I layered it on top of the nude lipstick. So here's our final look, guys. I hope you enjoyed and found it easy to follow. I love this look, and I hope you do too.
All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it easy to follow. It's just, you know, makeup is one of those things, as you could already tell from the video, that if you kind of mess up, if things don't go as planned, it's pretty fixable. Had that happen a couple of times during this tutorial. First with the eye look, with the very first shade I went in, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And this is the one I'm doing on camera. But no, it's always a pretty simple fix. Don't freak out, don't get frustrated, because there's always a way to kind of tweak it and make it the way you want. So I love that about makeup, and just it can turn out so pretty. Again, with using like a minimal number of shades. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it easy to follow, easy to replicate. Maybe it even inspired something of your own. Put your own twist on it. That's just, I love doing that as well. See something I really like and then I'm like, ooh, okay, I kind of want to do that, but I want to do this twist or this take on it. And then you make it unique to yourself. Perfect for the holidays. All right, guys, before I let you go, I need to give you the verse of the day. I'm going to give you one of my very favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but if you're new to my channel, I do love to give a verse at the end of every day. I might start doing here soon a little devotional, like really short, not anything super long, to kind of change it up. But Romans 15:4 is what it comes from, is where it comes from today. It's not in an effort to shove anything down your throat, just in an effort to let you know that Jesus loves you so very much. He's in the Bible, he's called the lover of your soul, and he just, if you would give him the opportunity to be the king of your heart, your very best friend, your Lord and Savior, he will just, it adds so much. He adds so much to our lives, and I can't imagine life without him. So this is just in an effort to encourage you and hope to add a little bit of joy to your day, maybe peace to your soul if you're going through some hardships. Again, Romans 15:4, and it says, everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through endurance and the encouragement of the scriptures, we might have hope. I wanted to put that out there because the key word in there is endurance. So life is not easy for anybody. And I feel like the day and time we live in now, life is so fast paced. I put my Christmas decorations up last week and I'm like, how is just time flying by so fast? It's already been up a week. But that endurance through hard times, through hardships, the key word is to endure. And with Jesus, you so can endure. He just helps you along the way. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope, again, that you enjoyed this, found this helpful. More to come, especially as we're going into the holidays. I will talk to you guys very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Bye.